This week on the Spike and Jones podcast.
Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. This week on Spike and Jones, we talk about one of our favorite subjects, and that would be songs. Yes, songs. Did I emphasize it enough? Songs. So the reality is, we all know songs make us happy. Songs make us sad. Songs remind us of our childhood. They remind us of our first love. They remind us of the first time we did anything, ate a hamburger, kissed, drove down the street way too fast. You know what I'm saying? Songs. Songs are everything. Probably more important to me than smells even. So join us as we break down the songs of our youth and everything in between today. All about the songs.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Spike and Jones.
So, welcome back, Spike.
Thanks, Rob.
I don't know where you've been, but I thought that was a great way to start.
You're welcome.
Indeed.
For returning, I mean.
So where were you this last week?
Ethereal plains, you know. I like going to the plains, listen to the wind, cross the raging wheat fields. Was that waving? I never get that right.
It's lovely. It's
you know,
lovely.
was
there a yellow brick road underneath the...
Oh, no. I love that album, though. Great album. Non Sequitur Theater presents Everything in Spike's Head.
I think Kansas did a record about that.
Kansas?
Yeah. You know, back in the early days, back in 73, 74, they were really organic rock, right? They were granola rock.
You mean Leftoverture, Point of No Return? How long did Point of No Return?
Way before that.
The path that I've chosen now have led me to a wall. I know that album backwards, forwards, and sideways,
I do
my
too.
friend.
It's one of my favorite albums.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, The Wall is my favorite song on that record. I like that more than Carry On. I like it more.
Moving into fantasy, can't believe the things I see. The path that I've chosen now has led me to a wall. With each passing day, I feel a little more like something dear is lost. Yeah, I know that one.
Yeah. I would think you do.
Rise now before me. Dark and silent barrier between all I am.
It's so good.
I haven't heard that in 20 years.
What's interesting is because Kerry Livgren was in the process of, he was looking, right? He hadn't yet discovered his faith. He was looking. He didn't know what he really wanted.
Right.
And yet that song, when you look back after his conversion, it sounds like a story about standing in front of God and wanting him desperately and can't get to him.
Interesting.
It's a fascinating treatise on...
Or I would think it would be a dissertation on the difficulty of success in music.
Yeah. It's amazing. Isn't that amazing how that works? Isn't that amazing?
As with all things, interpretation is everything.
As you see it from the secular.
Sure. I'm not secular.
Couldn't resist.
I'm bringing secular back.
That's a heck of a power tie for a secular guy.
Thanks. I'm sucking in secular.
So, I was really hoping that we could steer away from the things that upset us this week.
You mean like pricing and cable television?
Yeah.
That kind of thing?
Yeah, I'm thinking that. I'm thinking...
Yeah, good. No, something light.
Politics, junk like
something
that.
Just like a snack food topic.
Had it.
Snacky. Something snacky.
Like $100,000 bar or a Toblerone.
Cool choice. Toblerone, because you can break it off in little pieces and save it, or you can indulge by going 3 4 5 slices in. Right?
Absolutely. And
there's $100,000. You open it, it's gone.
Well, there's 2 pieces.
Well, no, it's gone. It might be a second bite of it's gone.
Do you remember Toffifay?
Sure.
So
it's it's I remember the jingle.
Toffifay, it's too good for kids.
Right.
Yeah.
It's made for grown-ups.
And
Toffifay, the porn of chocolate.
That's right. I think it came out, it was produced earliest, first time in maybe 78, 79.
Had little cups or something in the little plastic container. Yeah, I was a candy kind of savant there.
Yeah. And I had a paper route at the time, and I would always, on my daily route, I would go through downtown Tonasket, if you know where Tonasket is in north central Washington, to deliver my 73 papers for the day.
I thought fast-acting Tonasket was that stuff for foot fungus.
No, that's Jack Black.
Oh, my bad. Soak your feet in it? Damn. Youch.
And
it's the burn. That means it's working.
So in 1978, I averaged $100 a month for a paper route. And that's a crap load of money for a, whatever I was, 14-year-old kid.
Nice.
And so I thought, I could spend $1 a day on various sundries, mostly candy and Coca-Cola.
God, it's a grandma word. Sundries.
On a cornucopia of delights.
A shitload of sugar.
That's right. And there was this, I don't remember the name of this place. It has since burnt down, but at the time, they had just a giant candy rack and, candy cigarettes.
Oh, I remember those.
You
used to blow on the first time a little puff of powder came out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like Dad.
Yeah, exactly.
I miss it.
Exactly. And every day I would go in and I would buy a blackberry Hostess fruit pie.
Wow. Okay.
A little bag of Cheetos.
Okay.
And
are you puff or the crispy Cheetos? Which one?
They were I like them both, but these were the crispy, the deep fried ones.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
And a 12-ounce can of Coke. Okay. I did this every day on my paper route.
And you were like 14?
I was 13, 14.
Yeah.
And halfway through my route was my home. So, I started downtown, worked up one side of town, very small town, got to my house, and inevitably, by the time I got there, I had to use the restroom because I was always consuming the same diabetic bomb. But what was interesting is I was thinking about this the other day. A Hostess fruit pie and a can of Coke and a bag of Cheetos cost me less than $1. Mm-hmm. And the reason I'm even bringing this up is Toffifay, when it came out, it was the most expensive candy bar in the world. It was famous for that, and that was the whole why the advertisements got behind adult purchasers because it was too good for kids. Right. It was 25 cents.
Nice.
I would give anything for a 25-cent candy bar today.
Yeah, they're about the size of your thumb.
Yeah. So, what did Spike do this last week?
Spike kept it real. I made water come out of Rob's nose.
In the middle of a gulp, Spike drops.
I delivered pure cheese.
Yes, the cheesiest bomb in the world.
Keeping it real. Represent.
Yeah.
My weeks have become pretty uninspiring, I'll say.
Yeah.
Because this week was, not to get into the politics of the world, but this was a rough week because, we had a national election that had divided the nation from whatever side you represented. It's tough going, and it still is to this day. Yeah. It's one of the closest and most divisive election I think I've ever seen. Then my favorite college football team lost for the first time this year to a team I couldn't hate more, USC. You know, and then I was ready for Sunday Night Football for the Seahawks to go to New England and lose to the other football team I hate more than anything else in the world, the New England Patriots. And I was thinking to myself, if in 1 week I lose to Donald Trump, USC, and the New England fucking Patriots, I may just, ring that little bell and get off the planet. You know, it was like, God, the unholy trinity of shit I hate coming to bite me in the ass. But the Seahawks did me a solid and saved my week, and it is what it is. I thank my lucky stars and the Lord above.
Right.
I'm not that quite that.
So you put the 38 snub nose away for a week.
I wasn't gonna do any damage to myself. I was gonna be shitty to the world.
Oh, okay.
I like to puke outward.
Right. So you were basically gonna write a really, really mean twisted tune.
You know what though? Part of the things that of living an uninspired life at the moment is I have no vehicle, and I write and I write and I write and I think and create, and it has nowhere to play. And it has nowhere to go, so that kind of sucks. Major bungus.
I think we should add a jingle to this.
Cool.
Something that you put together. People need to hear it.
I'd like that. I'd like to have an avenue. I'd like to have a storefront.
Yeah.
Somewhere to hang my shite.
Yeah, Facebook, the comments I've seen so far over and over are, Spike O'Neill from Twisted Tunes fame, right? They're not necessarily dropping Bob Rivers. They're talking about Twisted Tunes. Right. So I think people want to hear it.
Okay.
And it's great advertising. Go. We're going to be big on iTunes soon. 5-star rating, everyone. Thank you, Spike.
How's that work?
I don't know. I don't have a 5-star rating.
What's that worth? I get a candy bar with that?
I actually do have one rating on Stitcher, and it is a 5-star rating. Nice. So that's kind of nice.
It's not masturbatory, though. You didn't do it yourself.
No.
Okay, good.
No. It's not like Trevor Senage.
Yeah.
My name backwards, right? So we're going to keep it killer and cool and on the down low this week. Soft and gentle, like a fine 70s wine. I have no idea.
With a screw cap?
I have my eyes closed because I'm trying to be imaginative, and it's not working very
Let's
well.
do something light and fun.
Yeah.
No more deep shit.
Yeah, I agree. So, last week you brought up the very, very difficult topic, right? And this week, why not go back to something that's really safe, everybody can listen to and chomp on and say, but wait, you didn't include my favorite song. So this week's, what is that sound?
I don't know. Thanks so much to the engineers of the building. There's a guy outside our window rolling a big bin by.
A bin.
The bin man.
It sounded like a jet.
It sounded like a biker gang was pulling up out front to
and it was
initiate
a bin.
me. It was a bin.
That's a half. That's not even a single pane window. That's a half a pane window.
I know, right? It's a total pane window. That thing is.
I wonder if we
Jesus
can
Christ.
hear. I wonder if we can hear him walk by. No.
Oh, we heard him fart. That was sweet.
That was nice. Yes, we are clearly bored already.
No,
we're not.
No, that was me caring about quality because I hate peripheral noise, harsh. Because everybody's listening to this at home, so they look up and think the jet's going overhead,
right?
Because the bin man rolled by our damn windows.
Yeah. Well, so this week, I thought, why not? Let's just talk about songs, favorite songs that influence us. So we're gonna deep six songs. Now, when I say deep six songs, I mean songs, not bands,
right?
Not genres, but 6 songs that have influenced you in some way or another. Favorite memory, first time given a kiss.
Man.
The song that wonderful smell reminds you of.
Isn't it funny that smells are the most powerful memory trigger? The olfactory, it's wild.
Crazy.
If I smell suntan lotion, I'm immediately back to Ocean City, Maryland as a kid.
Yeah.
And as a teenager, I'm right there.
Right.
Songs that key memories, I guess, are the important ones, or when you found, when I Alice Cooper.
Okay.
I think I may have told this in the past, but I was raised in a large part. My parents, God love them, were working stiffs, and I had teenage aunts and uncles, younger brothers and sisters of both my mom and my dad. So I spent a lot of time with aunts and uncles when I was 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, those years. And I would literally be riding around on a Saturday night listening to the Moody Blues and Alice Cooper, so literally School's Out.
Wow.
When I was too young to know what it was all about, really affected me.
Interesting.
Those kind of songs. I remember listening to, Paranoid by Black Sabbath, and not knowing what the hell they were talking about. But man, that guitar riff was cool as shit.
Yeah.
Iron Man. Oh, I know what Iron Man is. I know him. And it's him. Oh my God, he lost it. I'm like, wow, this is deep shit. That might have been the first song I ever really understood. I listened to a song for a lyric and understood what they were trying to say. And I mean, we're talking Paranoid. I'm not sure what year Paranoid came out. It was late 60s. So
69, I think.
So I probably was listening to it in the early 70s,
right?
Or late 60s, something like and listening to, oh wow. That's cool.
Yeah.
I know exactly what the hell he's talking about. And now I've got a new perspective on the cartoon character from the comic books and from Iron Man,
Wow.
I remember, I think I might have told you this in the past too, that I listened to the Tommy soundtrack at a movie theater for an entire summer.
Wow.
And as a 10-year-old, that'll really screw a kid up.
Yeah. You think?
And so it's not, we're talking about not, bands or whatnot, but the Tommy, we're not going to take it. I mean, that shit, that was powerful for me.
Yeah. It's interesting because you're talking about lyrics, and that is something I always wished I had in me. There's this, I listen to music in a very different way, and I think it's because I'm a drummer. Okay. And I think, for whatever reason, sorry about that, we keep getting the garbage can guy coming by the window. Nobody knows why either.
Well, we've picked the prune the plant time to record the show this week.
Yeah. That's
great.
True. That is true. We are working later today than normal. Where was I? Lyrics. I was never the lyric kid. In fact, I'm telling you, of all the songs I know, I mean, the 6 that I'm going to talk about today, I probably know the lyrics of those songs. But I bet you I know the lyrics of maybe 25 songs ever. Wow. I just really don't listen to them. And I always picked them because they were songs that had some cool beat, some cool riff, some cool melody. That was what caught me, right?
Okay.
So like one of my first experiences of a song that I just instantly fell in love with was Hot Child in the City by Nick Gilder.
Yeah, you bet. Great
1978. Great song. I went and bought the 45 back when 45s existed.
You kids remember it from the movie Big.
Yes, exactly. I went and bought the 45 and I went home and put it on the turntable and then played drums along with the 45. I just love that song.
Oh, nice.
Fell in love with it. And I played it for about a week, just over and over and over and over. Just constant. It was just absolutely insane for it.
That's cool.
And I used to make model airplanes, ships, cars, you name it. That was my hobby.
Wasn't just for the glue.
No.
You didn't do it in a small closed room with no ventilation.
I did.
Oh my God.
I got a little hot.
Oh, the Kellys.
I'm not gonna lie. But I would always listen to music. It was across the hall, where my drums and my turntable were. And so I would turn it up and then I would go in the room and work on my models. And one day my mom comes downstairs and she was just upset because she was listening to the words.
A Hot Child in the City?
Yeah, and Hot Child in the City is about a prostitute, right?
Okay, yeah.
And a very young prostitute. My mom's like, how dare you? It was very, very...
Yeah,
but I mean,
no, I hear you.
She wanted to protect me. She always did. That was her thing. And I just never paid attention. So when I finally sat down and listened to the words, I still didn't really get it because I think I was just, a little young and maybe a little wet behind the ears.
Right.
But I've never been that guy. I mean, I was always really into bubblegum pop. I mean, truthfully, seriously, Hudson Brothers, Bay City Rollers. I was into basically girl music. I listened to girl music.
I got to sing with Mark Hudson a few years ago.
Mark Hudson's voice is killer.
Yeah. He was a fun guy. We did a benefit thing out in Snoqualmie with Alan White. In fact, it was funny. I was talking today to somebody about it because I got we did like a 3-year run out of Snoqualmie, a thing called Imagine a Cure. And over the course of those 3 years, I got to sing with Mark Hudson, with Chris Squire. Once I played, he was
before he passed, obviously.
Yeah. Everybody from Him to Taylor Hawkins of
Foo Fighters,
the Foo Fighters, and Sunny Day Real Estate before that, and Roger Daltrey, of all things. Wow. I know, right? From a kid, and I had to tell him, so you don't understand. And I my Tommy, indoctrination at the age of 10.
Yeah.
I was always a Who kid. It was like, people are like, are you Beatles or Stones? I'm like, I'm a Who kid. Screw off and die. So being able to, I traded verses in Imagine.
Yeah.
With Roger Daltrey.
Oh,
and
wow.
you think? I know, right? And days like today when I'm feeling like, God, I hate doing what I'm doing right now for a living, and I need to get back to doing what I love. So music can immediately fix everything in your life.
Yeah.
I really believe that.
Yeah, I believe that too. What an incredible joy that had to be. I mean, for me, the equivalent would have actually been a Mark Hudson. Yeah. I was hugely
Hudson Brothers.
Hudson Brothers.
To me, they were a Saturday morning TV show thing.
Well, they were, and they were very derivative. They were trying so hard to be the next Beatles or the next Badfinger, which of course was the next Beatles, right? They were always trying to be, and so they were really niche-y. And so one of their quote unquote hits was called "Bernie Was a Friend of Ours," and I think it even was about Bernie Taupin, which of course is the lyricist.
Elton John lyricist, yeah. You bet.
And if you listen to that song, there's all these sort of Sgt. Pepper references, like the.
Wow. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, nice. Oh my God, you guys are totally just super derivative. But I love Mark's voice. And they released an album in 75 called Ba-Fa. I have no idea what it means. BA-FA. But my parents bought it for me for Christmas. And, growing up in Eastern Washington, we had really, really limited radio. It was basically all country and Western or...
Sure. Both kinds.
Yeah, exactly.
Country and Western.
Country and Western. Or AM radio, which was, would talk or maybe even...
pop?
Gospel radio. There was no pop.
Really? Not even American Top 40?
No,
none of that
only,
shit?
well, Sunday night. So what happened is in 1978, which was perfect timing for me, I was 12, 13 years old.
Uh-huh.
And all of a sudden, the station in Omak decided to carry American Top 40.
Wow.
And that was life-changing for me. So it's kind of funny because when you listen, when you hear my list of songs, you'd be like, well, no, duh. Clearly, I was influenced by that moment in time when I woke up.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
No, I was 15 in 1978. We should one week. We should Deep Six a year.
Yeah.
A particular year.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, because 1978 to me was the year I started going to live concerts. with my brother and I. And the first 3 concerts I saw as a young boy were Blue Oyster Cult and the Jay Giles Band. My first show ever.
That's a great start.
It was Godzilla. Spectors had just come out. And then I saw Eric Clapton's Slow Hand tour.
Oh my gosh.
With Cocaine and, Lay Down Sally and that record and Clapton.
Did your parents pay for this or did
No,
you?
we paid for it ourselves.
Wow.
Yeah, we had a little job selling weed, my brother and I.
Nice.
And,
That's how you got in the game. Yeah.
And my third show was the Rolling Stones Some Girls tour
Wow.
in the summer of 78.
Wow.
Yeah, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 105,000 people.
So you went and saw iconic acts from Ground Zero.
So I was hooked. And then but that first year was like my first Bruce show.
Wow.
Darkness on the Edge of Town tour. That's 78. I've argued with people that 78 may have been the greatest year ever for music.
Yeah.
Which is, the 70s were dead musically. I really think that.
Yeah.
The albums that came out in 1978 were like...
Doobie Brothers.
Doobie Brothers.
What a Fool Believes came out.
Fleetwood Mac's Rumors came out in 78.
Yeah.
Who Are You? The last Who album came out in 78.
Yeah.
Slow Hand by Eric Clapton came out in 78.
A lot of good stuff.
Some Girls came out in 78. I mean, there's a shitload. The first Police record, the first Cars record.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. You mentioned Cars, but I have a different version. I've got the Gary Newman one up here. Sorry, everybody. I'm going to just ruin it.
It's all mixed up and moving in
There's
stereo.
no whippet in there.
Let it play through.
There's no whippet.
All mixed up.
But 78 was really, really influential because I literally woke up to pop and rock. And what's really strange is here I was, this drumming kid. The only stuff I heard was stuff my parents brought to me. Well, my parents never bought what was currently on the charts. They bought what somebody at the record store told them they should buy.
Oh, okay. Didn't they bought by Nice Price sticker?
Right. No, they did. They totally did. The $5.99 record,
I hear
right?
you, man. You bet.
And so in 1974, as an example, I was really playing drums a lot. They'd bought me this really small little blue Slingerland kit, which was great. And my dad wired my room from the living room into my room. He ran a headphone jack all the way through the house. My dad really took care of us.
Nice.
And so I would go put the record on in the living room. Well, of course I had it plugged in already into the headphone jack. Put the record on and then run into my room into maybe the third bar of the song.
Okay.
Put my headphones on and then just play along with the record.
Nice.
So a lot of times I would just play through the whole rerecord because it was just easier to stay in the room.
Well, yeah.
I'm
gonna learn side 2 of this record
exactly,
over and over.
Exactly. In 1974, I was really big. Maybe it was 75, but Fifth of Beethoven came out.
Sure.
Right? Well, I don't know if my parents didn't know what they were doing or if they just went to the B version, but instead
got a fourth of Beethoven.
Exactly. They went to store, which is wonderful. I mean, I love it because it was a hugely influential record for me. My parents went to the store for Christmas and bought me Electric Light Orchestra. Oh, I know it's not like it's a bad thing. It's a great thing, but because it had roll over Beethoven.
Right,
See, I don't know if they thought it was the same song. I don't know.
Interesting.
But that's what they ended up buying. And that same year, that's when they bought me the Hudson Brothers record.
Cool.
So all of a sudden, I was like, I don't know who the Hudson Brothers are, but I like it.
Yeah.
And the Electric Light Orchestra thing, it was really arty and really bizarre.
Oh yeah.
And yet it had roll over Beethoven. I was like, okay, well, I guess
a telephone line on that too, right?
No, it's not on that record. But I thought, okay, well, this is interesting. But that's how my early quote unquote pop years were formed because we didn't have pop radio. So I was just listening to album rock.
Well, you were saved.
And that was only when my parents bought it for me.
Right. You were saved. You didn't have to sit through Billy Don't Be a Hero.
That's true.
Or The Night Chicago Died.
That's true.
Or those other pop BS, songs that are stuck so deeply into my head like a freaking government implant.
Right.
God, I
Joe McAllister jumped off the Tallahatchie Bridge.
See, that's funny you say that one, though, because those songs remind me of riding around with my dad in like the late 60s in his Chevy Impala.
Okay.
And listening to, we got married in a fever, hotter than a pepper sprout. We've been talking about Jackson ever since the fire went out. I'm going to Jackson. I mean, oh my God, Bobby Gentry's The Tallahassee Bridge,
Yeah.
God, those records remind me of my dad.
Yeah, no, it was that or my cousins. My cousins lived in California, so they were cool.
Okay.
So they would bring records on vacation with them. So when we would come over here to Western Washington, my grandparents lived in Graham when Graham was unincorporated and had like 85 people living there.
Not like the big city it is today.
No, there's a Walmart
Right.
for God's sake now. So they live in Graham, and so we would meet our cousins, and we'd spend about 2 weeks with them every summer. It was killer, but they'd always bring records. So in 1975, they show up with this record by this band that I've never heard of called the Osmonds.
Okay.
And they had this record called Brainstorm. And it's the one record that the Osmonds released before it kind of all just kind of flittered away.
Right.
You know what I mean?
When they tried to prove they were a band.
Right.
And not a...
But if you listen, so it was so influential for me, which is just insane that the Osmonds were this huge influence for me, but it was so influential for me that, I just can't get over that record, and it's their worst. Nobody likes this record.
Well, I couldn't tell you anything. I couldn't even tell you that record existed.
No, I know. It went out of print almost immediately.
Sure.
So 75, it probably sold 200,000, which is a lot nowadays, but it was
Right.
nothing in 1975. Okay. But it had this song called "Gotta Get Love" on it, and I play it to my friends this day, and people when they first hear it think it's Led Zepp. It's so heavy and awesome.
Really?
It's
the Osmonds?
So awesome.
From the Mormon perspective on metal?
One song.
Mormon metal.
It's just huge, chunky blues, really, really kind of terrible recording. Just yeah, it's really heavy and really killer. And then I finally found a video online of it maybe a couple of years ago, and it's so embarrassing. They've got like pimp clothes on,
sure,
like in the video they made for it, and it's just awful. Donnie's got the purple pimp clothes, Wayne's got the orange pimp clothes. They've got their, they're color coded, right?
Sure.
The drummer is wearing blue, but I don't know.
God,
I guess I'm just saying that my musical tastes are sorry and sad.
No,
although we went to Spokane in 1978. So speaking of 78. My mom and dad bought me a new drum set. So this was a really great time in my life. We went to Hoffman's Music. They bought me a blue Vista Light drum kit. Set up next to the drum kit that they bought for me is the drum kit that Billy Cobham had just come in and done a drum clinic on. So it's this giant kit. And I was like, who's Billy Cobham? So I went into the record store next door and started looking through, I wanted to know who Billy Cobham was
because you couldn't Google it.
Right. I didn't know.
Right, you had to physically go and research the back of albums.
Right, and my parents said you can buy 2 records today, and take them home with us, and you'll have new material to play on your drums. So I looked on the wall, and I saw Kiss Destroyer, and I saw Kansas 2 for the Show. And this is, this is their 6th album? I didn't even know. I didn't know who Kansas was.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so I pulled it up and I bought those 2 records, went home, and fell in love with both records. They're still hugely influential for me. But I put that Kansas record on, and it starts with Song for America.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this is the greatest thing in the history of the world.
Cool.
It never, ever got better.
Cool.
It's still my favorite record of all time.
Yeah.
I love that thing so much. Though the performances are better than the original albums.
The
studio albums.
Yeah. Tremendous.
And then, I'll never forget this. I was listening to the record. I couldn't get away from it. I couldn't get away. And so I turn on the stereo really loud, and I go into the bathroom because I have to use the restroom, and I'm standing there in the restroom peeing in the toilet, and all of a sudden I hear da 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 da. Right, it got to Carry On Wayward Son, and I was like, that is the best song in the history of the world. It was just.
Is that the first time you'd heard it?
It was the very first time I heard it.
Wow.
It's standing in the bathroom.
It's funny because my Kansas experience began at the Orchard Skate King.
Wow.
And it was, Carry On Wayward Son would be playing, and we'd be roller skating.
Yeah. Reverse direction.
It was, oh my God, Leftoverture was fan. So I went out and got Leftoverture because of Carry On Wayward Son and found the rest of their music.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Radio did its magic at that point.
Yeah. I love that.
Selling records.
Well, so we talked about Deep Six songs, and I thought it's actually impossible to pick your 6 favorite songs of all time.
No.
So I just randomly picked 6 songs that every time I hear on the radio, I go, I want to hear that again. I want to hear that as loud as possible.
Okay.
So do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Well, I kind of already spilled a few beans on the table talking about the music that I was exposed to and had an influence over me. It was funny because, pop records, I listened to the radio a lot as a kid, and music in general is too broad a topic to get into, but whatever was pop was what I loved. I mean, I really loved pop music. I loved radio songs, hit records, top 40 songs, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
Loved them. But the songs that really kind of, to this day, I think have impact on me is probably like Rosalita by Bruce Springsteen.
That's a good song.
Because I went to see Bruce in 78 and saw the Darkness on the Edge of Town tour and just fell in love with the band and the live show.
Yeah.
And when they played Rosalita, you're like, your world is just different. Everything is different now. Everything is different now.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'd seen Clapton play Layla and Slow Hand from like 3 foot from the stage because we, at 15, you're fearless and you camp out for tickets and you go and you whittle your way up to the stage for the encores. And I'm watching Clapton like at his feet.
Wow.
And I'm watching the Stones play for 100,000 people 2 months later in Philadelphia at a stadium. My brother and I hitchhiked from Baltimore to Philadelphia because the ride that was supposed to take us that day, his wife went into labor the morning of the show.
Wow.
He's like, I can't go. We're like, ah! So, we literally made a sign, and my brother and I got on the freeway and hitchhiked from Baltimore to Philadelphia.
Wow. Must see Bruce.
No, it was just for the Stones.
Clapton. Oh,
this was some girls.
I'm sorry, I missed. Okay.
And we get to the stadium at JFK Stadium in Philadelphia, which has long since been torn down, and there's like the gates are ripped off. I mean, it's the people overran the stadium.
Oh,
I mean, they sold like 80,000 tickets, and there was 100,000+ inside.
So it was like one of those Cincinnati moments with the Who, where there were stampedes.
But no, we got there because we hitchhiked. We got there after as Journey was being booed off the stage.
Journey,
Journey, Foreigner, and the Stones. Wow. And Journey comes out like in '78 and just got bottles thrown at them and booed off the stage.
Right, they weren't cool yet.
No, they were not. They were no.
I don't know if they were ever.
Yeah, I was going to say, when did that happen? Was I in a coma? When did Journey get cool?
Well, they were never.
It was actually the coolest.
Yet.
It was coolest they've ever been. It was before they went pop radio. It was like Wheel in the Sky.
Right.
And it was
first Steve
Lights.
Perry.
Yeah,
First Steve Perry.
yeah. And then Foreigner played, and then the Stones played. But it was. I mean, you walk up and there's people just coming and going through the portals of the stadium because the gates are just down.
Wow.
And there's no security anywhere.
Right.
So you just whittle your way in, and my brother and I, noodle all the way up through onto the floor, get about 30 yards from the stage, and it's like, the crush of humanity. Like you're not going any closer.
Yeah. And when the audience moves, you go.
You move. Yeah. I mean, that was like.
Yeah.
But then Bruce, you go, and I'd heard Born to Run, and I'd heard the radio of Badlands on the radio,
right?
And Promised Land and whatnot. And you get there and you watch. Okay, and the show just keeps going and going and going and going and going.
Wow.
And at the end of it all, he's playing Rosalita, and you're just like, wow.
Yeah. I wish I'd had that experience because I didn't. My first Bruce Springsteen experience, Manfred Mann.
Okay, this podcast is over.
Seriously, yeah.
No, really.
Yeah.
Fuck you. No, really. Bye. I'm kidding.
Mom,
dude.
He's the one who used the F word.
I know.
Not
Sorry,
me.
Mom. But he mentioned Manfred Mann and Bruce in the same sentence.
I know. But that was my first experience.
No, I hear you. Blinded by the Light.
Yeah.
You want to hear a story about that? I got to play with Chris Slade.
Yeah.
Once, twice.
The bald drummer who replaced Phil Rudd in AC/DC.
And who was on Thunderstruck.
Yes.
That was his album originally.
Maybe the biggest record he did. Yeah.
So Chris Slade came to town and we played a benefit with us. We played, not the one I mentioned earlier, but we played a little benefit, and our band played it, and Chris sat up with us and played. And I played out with him at Snoqualmie at Salmon Days one year. We did a little AC/DC thing.
At Salmon Days?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Chris Slade, and it was a bunch of guys from Rail and guys from our band. And
I
it was
love
really
Rail.
a fantastic day.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Chris Slade, and we kind of interviewed him a few times through the course of the Bob Rivers show. And he told us about how they recorded their cover of Blinded by the Light. And they literally had to go out and buy a copy of Bruce Springsteen's Greetings from Asbury Park, New Jersey. And literally, the singer was literally holding the album in his hand and reading from the lyrics of the song while they did their cover.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
so you just taught me two things I didn't know. One, I didn't know Chris Slade played on that record.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was in Manfred Mann.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. I just
cool?
thought he was in that movie, The Hills Have Eyes.
Well, the thing about Blinded by the Light. Okay?
Sorry,
That's
Chris.
okay. It's okay. Thing about, I know, right?
He's a very scary looking
No makeup
dude.
required. Thing about Blinded by the Light is, I mean, that was my first. To be fair, I knew Blinded by the Light by Manfred Mann verbatim before I knew it was a Bruce song.
Okay.
I'm seriously, because I went to see Springsteen, and then as I got into Springsteen and I started buying his albums, Blinded by the Light is the first song on the first side of his first album.
Right.
I mean, that was the first
That's
thing.
the first song?
First song, first side, first
Okay.
album. And it's nothing like Manfred Mann at all.
Yeah.
Nothing like Manfred Mann.
Yeah.
And it's this intricate, long storytelling that's, more lyrics than the Bible.
Right.
And
And it's revved up like a deuce, by the
Yeah,
way.
right. Revved up like a deuce, another runner in the night.
Yeah.
Not like a douche.
Yeah.
Like everybody thinks.
No matter, it's not a douche, yes.
So for me, that song being the significance of the first song on the first side of the first album,
Yeah.
that's the first thing you're putting in front of people.
Yeah.
You made a conscious decision that is your entry into people's lives.
Yep.
Yep. For that to be bastardized by Manfred Mann's Earth Band, and they had so much fun. They did even worse to Spirits in the Night.
Yes, they did.
Because they couldn't bother to buy another Bruce album. They took some of the same fucking Bruce album. You cheap, lazy bastards. No, those are great. Those are great songs.
They
That's a
are.
great song.
They are.
But for me, it's a violation of a really important song to the most important artist I think probably in my life. So
Yeah. I'd heard something maybe yesterday. This guy was talking about Bruce Springsteen's shows, and you know how they go on.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very long.
Oh, yeah.
Famous for being long shows. And he had asked Bruce why he does such long shows. He said, because if I die, I need to know that I did everything today as long as I could go. And so he literally goes until he's exhausted.
Oh yeah.
I think that is extraordinary.
They plan a show and then they keep going.
Yeah, yeah.
And the band is just like I saw an interview he did recently on his book tour. That the band will look at him and like, really?
Yeah.
Still? Really? They, after the
4
set,
hours, yeah.
the set, and then 7 encores, and
Yeah.
he's calling audibles and adding, so he's grabbing signs out of the audience, taking requests.
Wow.
And and the band's like, really?
Yeah.
Really?
That'd be tough. I mean, when you're on your 200th show and he's making you go 4 hours a night.
Oh yeah,
that's,
and they're all
that's tough
upper. I
beat.
mean, they're all gentlemen. They're all.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been playing live for 40 years.
Patty's the biggest gentleman of all.
Don't be messing with Patty, the Rumble Doll, man.
Well, before we get to the songs, actually,
We haven't gotten to the songs yet.
We haven't got to the
Damn,
songs yet.
dude, sickle.
I did want to say this because you were talking about first shows. My first show, I think I mentioned this before, was Marilyn McCoo and Billy Davis Jr. at the Puyallup Fair. So,
Man, we're gonna have a telethon between your Donnie your Osmonds
Yes.
album,
yes.
and your Marilyn McCoo and Billy Davis Jr. concert experience.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a hip replacement.
Yeah,
for you.
absolutely. Absolutely. I was thinking
You need some hip.
I need to ask my mom and dad. So next year you're gonna take me to Peaches and Herb?
Well, come
You
on,
know?
man.
It was just
Reunited.
yeah. It was
Is that Peach Center Reunited?
that was Peaches and Herb. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Marilyn McCoo and Billy Davis Jr. I think it was. You don't have to be a star, right?
To be in my show, you bet. They were the fifth dimension, and they couldn't keep
couldn't
three of the
find that
dimensions.
sixth
Didn't have the money to keep those 3 dimensions around.
But that was my first show. But my second, which I really to this day say it's my first real show, was David Bowie.
Wow, cool.
Now that
Cool.
that I
Okay,
deserve
cool.
a high five for
Cool,
that one.
cool, yeah.
That was an amazing thing. And so I went with my best friend to the Tacoma Dome. So that was 83.
Okay, wow.
So that was the Serious Moonlight tour.
Nice.
When, he hadn't been on tour in 5,
Sure,
6
you bet.
years. And all of a sudden he's showing up and selling out everything. And
of course, who played guitar on Let's Dance?
yeah.
Yeah.
Stevie.
SRV, baby.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So I'll tell you a brief story. So and you're gonna actually punch me by the end of this story.
Okay.
So this is October, I believe, 11th. It might have been not October, August 10th or 11th. It's one of the two. I don't know why I remember this, but I do. 1983. And I was going to go see the Tubes. I love the Tubes.
Okay.
I love the Tubes. And they'd finally sort of broken out into the top 40 realm. And so I was kind of happy.
Talk to You Later?
Talk to You Later,
and
then She's a Beauty,
Yeah.
right? So this is 83. So that was the Outside Inside tour.
Shit.
And I do. I love it. And
I'm with you, man.
And so they were playing the Paramount. And I went to Rainy Day Records in Olympia and bought tickets, and they were $14. And I'm like, this is the greatest day of my life. I'm gonna go see,
nice.
right? And I had seen on the billboard, the Ticketmaster billboard, it said David Bowie the same day, and I'm like, I gotta see the Tubes. I just had to. And the Tubes were my jam. They were my thing at the time. And so I blew the Bowie thing off and, went home. And I don't know, maybe 3 weeks later, I was listening to, KSW, KZOK, one of the local stations. And they said, sad to say, but the Tubes had to cancel their show.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, man. So I go back to Rainy Day Records and I return the ticket. And she goes, well, why don't you just go see Bowie? And I was like, okay, I already, paid for the ticket.
Nice.
So no, but it gets better. So, but this is how bad I am. I get the ticket, and it says with special guest, the Tubes. Seriously.
That's why they canceled, so they could take the Bowie opening slot?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes. So they played for 18,000 people instead of 1,500 people.
Nice.
Right? So all of a sudden, I get to see. Now I get to see, an icon and David Bowie.
Nice. Whatever.
No, but I get to see the Tubes and David Bowie. And so I'm stoked, man. We got to the Tacoma Dome at 7 a.m. Showtime's 8 p.m. We were there at 7 a.m.
Yeah, I've done those.
Standing in the rain. And this is, of course, back in the day when there was no such thing as reserve seating.
Okay.
Right?
Oh, okay. So GA. Okay,
it was a
cool.
total
Cool.
GA.
Dump you on the floor.
Absolutely.
Wish you luck.
Absolutely. So here's what happened. We get there, and we're about 3,000 people down in line at 7 a.m. And I'm like, oh, man. And, of course, I've never been to a big show.
Right.
So I have no idea how
Right.
close that means I'm going to get to the stage.
Right.
But for some reason, I don't know, I've never heard of this since, the crew comes through, the staff comes through right around noon. So we've been there 5 hours. Our feet ache, everything else, and they say, and they put a barrier up, like a line, like a rope, okay?
Yeah.
On the line, maybe 10 people behind us. And they say, you are the first 5,000. They come by, they stamp each of our hands and say, you can go to lunch. I swear to God, this really happened. They let us out of line.
Yeah.
So Steve and I ran back to the car. We had like Ritz crackers in the car. Yeah. We grabbed the Ritz crackers and ran back. We didn't.
Got in line.
And we were the fourth people in line.
Nice.
So,
that would have been so cheese.
So when they opened the doors, I'm up against the boards.
Nice. Yeah.
I literally was stage center. Bowie's mic was about 6 feet up and 6 feet back from me.
Nice.
Right there. And unbelievable. The Tubes play was killer. Had a blast. And then Bowie comes out. And I don't remember what he came out to. Maybe Heroes. Just something really big and bombastic right off the bat. And he comes out. And he's doing his cool swagger, his Thin White Duke swagger, and he comes out and he grabs his microphone and he mimes like he's going to start singing, and then he walks away from the mic. Just so cool, like way too cool to even be on the stage. And I remember thinking, I am totally gay for you. I just looked up at him.
He's beautiful.
He's beautiful.
He's a beautiful so man.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
He was thin and just handsome.
82, 83. That was probably that was it, man.
Absolutely. He's at peak form.
Jesus.
And he walked across the stage and he's smiling at everybody and he's waving, because he's making his grand return, right?
Yeah.
And he walks up and he grabs the mic stand and he looks down and he looks right at me, like straight out of the Heathers. Like if I'd had water in my mouth, I would have spit it out. You know what I mean? He just looks right at me and goes like that and gives me a little wink. And I'm like, oh my God, I really am gay for you. And then they did the show.
Yeah.
And then here's the part you're gonna hate. About halfway through, I was just the crowd was crushing on me, and I was just getting so tired because I'd been there since 7 a.m. And I went back to the back of the Tacoma Dome, and I think I got a Coke or something, used the restroom, and they started playing Scary Monsters or something, and I was like, I don't know this song, and so Steve and I left. Didn't stay for the whole show. I think I heard maybe an hour. I didn't hear any songs I knew.
Oh, you've been there since 7 a.m. Your feet hurt. You were
again, I
soaking
grew up
wet.
in a world that didn't let me hear cool songs like these. So I mean, I heard Let's Dance. I was okay. I knew that one, but I didn't know his catalog, and so I was like, I don't know these songs. It's not fun. So
you missed the encores. You missed Space Oddity.
I missed all the awesome stuff.
Wow.
I missed my favorite, which is Ashes to Ashes. That's my favorite.
God,
Bowie
that's a
song.
great tune.
Yeah. So, okay. So let's do this Deep Six thing. Deep Six. You got one, or do you want me to start?
Go ahead.
Okay. So the other day I was talking about first songs, and so my very first song, the one that woke me up to the world, was "Something" by the Beatles. And it's my very first song memory. And of course, it probably came out when did Something come out? 68, 69?
I would, yeah.
It's on Abbey Road, right? It's Abbey Road that's on. So, 68, 69, whenever Abbey Road came out. And I didn't know I didn't know it was the Beatles. I just knew I liked it. And that something about that guitar, that something in, right? And then that really great bridge, just everything about that song gives me such joy. It's such a pretty, pretty song. It's my favorite Beatles song by far.
Still? Really?
By far.
Interesting.
Far. I like maybe Eleanor Rigby a close second.
Yeah.
I've never been a fan of their happy stuff. I like, again, it's like movies. I think I just like the dark, maybe a little dismal. Something is so bittersweet. It's hopeful, but yet it's longing. Mm-hmm. It's like for the girl I'm never going to have. You know what I mean?
Right.
And yet he did, right?
Well, it's so funny that Beatles, you talk about the Beatles in themselves. There isn't a Beatles song I don't love.
Yeah.
I said earlier that I wasn't a Beatles or a Stones guy. I was a Who guy.
Right.
And that's true. But I love the Stones. I love the Rolling Stones. There's something about the Stones that just appears your darker side of life.
Yeah.
And there's not a Beatles song I don't absolutely love. And my favorite Beatles song depends upon how I want to feel.
Interesting.
But Something might be the most perfect song.
It is. I think
ever
it's a
made.
perfect song.
I mean, it is. You're right. The bridge just takes you someplace.
Yep.
Unexpected and it's just beautiful.
It's perfect. It's a perfect song. George Harrison's voice is beautiful in it. The harmonies are lovely. What was his name? The producer, Phil, the Wall of Sound guy.
Spector?
Yeah, Spector. Didn't Spector produce that too?
I don't know that's the case.
I know he did. He did Let It Be, right?
Did he? Well, I don't know. I thought George Martin did all of Abbey Road.
Well. Yeah,
I mean, Martin
Phil Spector did something. I know I know he did all the string arrangements for Let It Be.
Oh wow,
I do know that.
Okay, I can believe it. The Wall of Sound thing.
Yeah, but I thought he did. I thought he did.
You might be right.
Yeah. Anyway, I just think it's a gorgeous, perfect song, and that's what I'm going to say. That's my first one.
Okay. Well, I've already kind of thrown a few out, and I think I've pulled Rosalita out of my ass already, as well as
twice,
as well as Tommy. So I've been kind of cheating and just kind of indulging myself with songs that matter to me.
Right.
I had a moment the other day about songs, and it's a song that I had forgotten how much I loved until I got a chance to share it. I've got this old T-shirt that I bought at a Dead show. I couldn't tell you what year. And it was a total, parking lot bootleg. Some guy trying to make money enough to eat or whatever, or get a ticket to the next city show.
Sure.
And it's this tie dye that says, "Love is real, not fade away," on the T-shirt.
Yeah.
And my daughter wears it now as pajamas because it's like paper thin T-shirt. It's been washed 1,001 times,
and somehow it still smells like Dad.
It probably still does.
Yeah.
Because I have that effect on clothing.
Yeah.
So
that's why it's so thin.
But I asked Darby if she was that's not, the grammar's terrible. I'm like, oh my God, do you have to sit down for a minute? And I literally started with Buddy Holly.
Wow.
And I played it. Thank you, YouTube.
Yeah.
I played her Buddy Holly and the Crickets, Not Fade Away.
Oh man.
And the chunky guitar of that thing, and then I played her the Stones.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I played it live off the Dean Martin Variety Hour. There was a video of the Stones playing Not Fade Away on Dean Martin's TV show. Okay. I've been the Rolling Stones. I've been rolled when I was stoned. I mean, the whole cheesy the whole 9 yards. She'll be like, "What the hell?" And I played the Stones, right? And then I played the 9.5 minute. These are Buddy Holly, 2:15.
Yeah.
The Stones, 2:35. Yeah. The Grateful Dead live, 9 minutes 48 seconds. She's like, "What? How do you?" I said, "Just watch." and they start jamming, and she's digging it, and she's kind of, got the shoulders moving around a little bit, and Jerry goes off on some Space Jam super lead run, and I'm like, oh my God, I forgot how much I loved seeing the Grateful Dead,
Oh my gosh.
And my little one is like, okay. And now that shirt, I think, means something more to her when she puts it on. It certainly means more to me when I see her wearing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I wish, to me, I don't know if I wasn't the right age or I didn't embrace that sort of, I don't know.
The Dead?
The music.
So you didn't have a drug problem? Is that what you're telling me?
Well,
long and short of it?
No, I've never had a drug problem, actually, but
I had a lot of drugs, no problem.
No. Girls were my drug. I can't say I got into or didn't get into the Dead. I actually don't know any Dead songs except for the 2 hits they had, which is the terrible one in the 80s that nobody likes.
Touch of Grey?
Yeah. Well, you actually like. I can tell your face. You're like, do not diss the Dead.
I love the Dead.
And the first song, the first song was Truckin', right?
Those are the
2 I know. Seriously,
Driving That Train, High on Cocaine, Casey Jones, that one, right?
Yeah. But I mean, I just don't know their material. I really, truly don't.
I've seen the Dead probably 20 times in my life. I took my older daughter to see the Dead when they played the Memorial Stadium.
Right.
And here in Seattle, and she was probably about 5 or 6 or 7.
Wow.
I took her to a little Dead show, and she's watching the spinners and the dancers and all the fun and the festival atmosphere of it, and that was kind of cool.
Wow.
I
got to do that.
And my little one, my little one who's got to be she's 13 now. Oh my God, she's 13. It was fun sharing that memory with her.
Yeah.
Sharing that music with her.
That's good. That's lovely. I wish you'd share it with me.
I'll take it.
I'll let you do that. Of course, half the band is dead now. So.
You know what? That's funny. They, as they keep going and going and going and going. I think my dear friend downtown Joe just went to see. I guess it's Further now is who they're touring as. The remaining
right.
Bobby and
Bob Weir,
Phil
basically,
and
Phil
Nicky
Lesh.
and they're touring as a band called Further, and I think it was I think it was Hornsby was playing with them, or John Mayer was playing with them, or something. I mean,
wow.
Major players love to play with the Dead.
Yeah, well, Vince Welnick left the Tubes to join
the Dead. Yeah, you bet. After Pigpen died.
Yeah, so it was actually one of the reasons I wanted to go see the Dead, because I love Vince Welnick's playing so much, and then he died. Of course, I think he committed suicide, which is terrible,
drugs will do that
terrible.
to a person. It makes your mind up.
Oh man. So
quick sidebar.
Yes.
May I?
Yeah.
Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, Elton John. Great record. I was too young to know what I was listening to when I fell in love with that album because of one of my uncles.
Yeah.
All the Young Girls Love Alice. That song?
What about it?
That was my first. That song.
I'm sorry. I was like,
that song was my introduction to lesbianism.
Oh my!
That's literally the first time I had cognizant awareness of lesbianism.
Oh, my mom was right about Elton John.
Yeah, she said he'd someday be adopt and be a wonderful father.
She forbade me for listening to Elton John
because he was.
Because there was hearsay. This is in the world where nobody talked about it really. Right. But there was hearsay that he was gay, and on top of that, he said bad words like "damn." I could not.
I don't know to be a fact, but I hear he may be gay with his sunglasses with the 5-foot feathers on either side and the sequin suits. He may just be gay.
He may be.
God love your mom.
In 1975, he released an album, Rock of the Westies.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had a babysitter. I was 9, I guess. And so on occasion, she would watch us after school for a couple of hours, and like a daycare center, if you will. And she would listen to Elton John all the time.
Oh, wow.
And I loved that record.
That's great music.
And so when I finally, I don't know when I got maybe 13, 14, seriously, we're talking, I'm an early teenager. I went and took a chance and bought Rock of the Westies on my money.
Nice.
And I came home and played it, and my mom was like, "Who is this? I really like this." And I'm playing it. And then
it's John, somebody, Mom.
But you know what? Just like that Nick Gilder thing, there was a moment I was in there working on one of my models, and I've got Rock of the Westie, and I just started it. The first song is a 3-song medley. One of the songs is called Yell Help, of the 3-song medley. And then Wednesday Night and some others, I can't remember what it's called. And my mom thought he was saying Yell Hell. And she was so upset that you're listening. He's saying he's foul language, blah blah blah. Jesus wouldn't be happy with you,
Oh my God.
Sorry, but it's true, Mom.
No worries.
It is true, Mom. You did that. But that was my foray into Elton, and then I went back finally, and I love his old stuff. Basically everything before, I don't know, I guess that's why they call it the blues. Everything from 85 back, I like. Everything post 85, I can't stand. It's all dog crap. Just crap. Absolute. Even The Lion King, I'm sorry. It's all crap. Okay, so my next song, I'm just going to pick one of them. So a hugely influential song that a lot of people have heard it and they don't know why. It's a one-hit wonder. It's called Aaliyah by Donnie Iris.
Sure, you bet.
I love that song. I love that song. And it's because it reminds me of a very specific time in my life. I was 15 the first time I heard it. I was living actually in Olympia, but I went home I call home Tonasket, where my formative years were, and I went and saw my best friend, and he had this 8-track in his Pinto, and it was Donnie Iris's album. That first album. So we're jamming around. It's the summer of 1982 and 1981. And we're jamming around Tonasket in the valley out there, listening to Donnie Iris on the 8-track and Aaliyah. And he kept telling me the story about how Donnie played most of the instruments and did all the background vocals. And I just love that song.
Great tune.
It's not a great story so much, but it's a great song.
It holds up.
Great song. It still holds up. And then he released an album called King Cool in 1983 that had Love Is Like a Rock on it. Remember that song? Love can rock you.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Never stop.
I do remember Love.
I love that song. So anyway, now you guys know it's Donnie Iris. Go find Aaliyah because it's a great record.
Okay. For me, In the Ghetto by Elvis Presley.
Oh my gosh, you're digging deep.
Yeah, because I think I knew of Elvis. Of course, I knew of Elvis. I knew, I was introduced to Elvis by Christmas music, first off, because when my parents divorced, my dad married a hillbilly who I loved. Wonderful lady. My stepmom, Candy.
Oh, really?
And oh, love, and Santa wants to bring my baby back to me.
Yeah.
I was introduced to Elvis through Christmas music, but then when I heard In the Ghetto, I realized how amazingly talented Elvis Presley was.
Yeah.
I mean, In the Ghetto, that song is just, he is.
It's gorgeous.
He's a gift. He was a gift from God.
Yeah, the best
Elvis
baritone
Presley
ever.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And it's just that there's no time that song doesn't. I'm exposed to that song, and I'm not immediately, a million miles away.
Yeah,
and totally in awash in that song. I cannot do anything else when that song's on.
That's awesome.
I lose track of everything else when In the Ghetto is playing.
How old were you when you first heard it?
Probably not till 12, 13. Okay. And that's saying it was literally 7, 8, 9, 10 when I was exposed to Elvis.
Sure.
And, you knew Teddy Bear and Don't Be Cruel and Blue Suede Shoes and Hound Dog and all that shit. But then, In the Ghetto.
Wow.
You're like, holy shit.
But it hits you at the right time, right? It's funny how songs, especially during puberty, are just like massively influential.
Yeah.
They change your life. You know what?
And I was aware of the lyrical content of the song too, not just Elvis's talent.
That just blows me away.
And his singing about how I guess that might be the first song that I thought about lives different than my own.
Yeah.
And gave me an awareness of a life outside of my life.
Right. He formed your liberal spirit.
He probably he probably did.
Seriously. Well, and Elvis, I consider him, he's very much almost like a Christ figure in music because he pissed the world off. The way things were, he came in to change it.
Oh, yeah.
He broke it all up, and he brought in color and culture, all these things that we didn't want to talk about.
Right.
We didn't want to know. I love that. The thing that's great about Elvis, in my opinion, is he's the only singer I've ever heard that his vibrato is out of tune. And it's perfect because it's out of tune. Have you ever caught that? If you listen to his vibrato, it's always out of tune.
Is it really?
Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and try to sing, but when he did Amazing Grace, that was the time I really caught it. So he goes like, Amazing Grace. His vibrato is like sharp by a step and a half. And somehow it works because he does it constantly. That's just his vibrato. It's never in.
You were always on my mind.
Yeah, exactly. You were always
On my
on my mind. It's just sharp. It's always sharp, and you can hear him just like, his eyes are going up in his head.
Same thing happened when he ate a sandwich. His eyes rolled back and it's like a shark.
Yeah. Just like that time he was on the toilet and his eyes rolled back.
God, I love Elvis. Love Elvis.
Super talented. Okay, so this next song is the one that for some reason, well, actually, it's the next two songs. When I hear them on the radio, I almost have to pull over. They're like my two favorite in the car radio songs.
Really?
So the first one, Sister Golden Hair Surprise.
Oh, thank God.
A good song?
No, I thought you were going to say Sister Christian.
Oh, no.
I'm like, no.
No. What do you think I'm going to sing,
It's
Mr.
another
Robajo?
Motorhead.
No, I don't do that.
Sister Golden Hair is America.
Yeah.
And what a great
Yes.
act America was.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Yes, and the next one is also...
Is it Horse No Name?
No, Ventura Boulevard.
Oh, Ventura Highway.
Excuse me, Ventura Highway. That's what I meant to say. I'm sorry.
Do you want to be some grass?
Yeah,
walking down the road?
Ventura Highway is actually probably second to something as in my top 5 songs.
I love the harmonies on Ventura Highway
Ventura
too.
Highway in the sunshine. Yeah. I mean, and everybody thinks. Well, I shouldn't say everybody thinks. I thought it was Crosby, Stills and Nash for the longest time because they sound.
Yeah.
They have this
Of
exact same
course.
harmonies.
You bet.
I just had no idea who America was and what they were doing and why I should care. But I love those two songs. So I just gave them away. I don't really have a story. I just love those two songs.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So you.
I'm a fan of the second British invasion.
The one with Duran Duran?
No, well, maybe, but because that really wasn't.
Sorry.
No, I'm talking about more the Police.
Oh,
the Clash.
Okay. Yeah, I get
Elvis
it.
Costello.
Yeah, so the
British invasion.
The punk new wave thing that happened.
Yeah,
but the British version of it.
Right. So it was Train in Vain that got me to the Clash.
Wow.
Okay, but it is literally like Rudy Don't Fail, that kind of Clash.
Yeah.
Any
the stuff
any
before they
great Clash
sold out.
song, yeah.
Before they did Rock
Anything
the
off
Casbah.
Sandinista. And I love Rock
I
the
do too.
Casbah.
I do too.
I love Combat Rock.
I do
I love
too.
that record.
I do too.
But man, God,
Joe Strummer.
Joe Strummer and Mick. I love Big Audio Dynamite,
yeah.
Love Big Audio Dynamite.
Yeah.
But give me some off the wall Death Track Clash.
Oh man.
Lost in the Supermarket. The song called The Card Cheat?
No, I don't have any of those records. I know
God, man.
the big songs, and I've heard them all.
I love
but I
the Clash.
always liked the Clash.
And it's hard to put a finger on a Clash song, so it might have to be Train in Vain just so I can get people to buy in.
Yeah.
But Rudy Don't Fail.
Rudy Don't Fail was awesome.
Oh my God, man!
Yeah.
I love me some Clash.
You guys need to see Spike's face right now. It's just he's got a smile.
Well, it's so funny because when you came in today, I was I was in the depths and throes of my my current position.
Yeah, this
say.
is your life, Spike.
Yeah, my current position has been chewing away at my soul, and I literally had to go to the soul bank and make a withdrawal. So I appreciate this topic today.
I brought some Campbell
very
soup with
much.
me.
So some chicken soup for my soul.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Good.
Give me some Clash.
That's good. That's simple and lovely. And I think a lot of people though, they don't recognize the influence the Clash actually had. I mean, I really don't think most people get it. I think people our age get it.
Yeah.
But I think especially newer, I almost said newer kids, younger kids don't really think about it. They go from the Sex Pistols, they kind of jump the Clash for some weird reason, or they go to the Ramones and then they jump to Blondie.
Yeah,
They kind of miss that whole era where those things happened in the late 70s.
Yeah.
And it's because they were beautiful alternatives and almost like violent rock alternatives to disco, which we were stuck with here.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Horrible.
Disco's a crock. Long live rock. Remember that?
Yes, but have I got a soft spot for the Bee Gees?
I do too.
I mean, all of it. All of it.
Nobody gets too much heaven anymore, man.
Well, I'm going back to
What, Jack talking? Oh, yeah.
Went down in Massachusetts.
Oh my God.
I love that shit,
I'm
man.
like, tragedy.
I love that, and I love the disco Bee Gees, man. I can love me. So I can stay alive with the best of them. You know.
Oh man.
You can tell by the way I use my watch.
Well, I never got it. I liked
Disco?
the Bee Gees. No.
Oh, no.
I was totally the right age. I mean,
Yeah,
I was like
you
all
were
like,
saved from it though.
I never understood what the Bee Gees were trying to do until I was much older. I didn't get that the Bee Gees were trying to be like early '60s black bands. They were doing the old doo-wop stuff. I didn't get it. I didn't get their their references or the influences, and disco was so just dominating, and there was so much derivative going on inside of that space, and every once in a while you'd hear a really unique song, like I don't know if you remember this, but there's a song called "Living It Up Friday Night" by Bell and James, and I mean,
I probably recognize it if you.
I don't think there's a better disco song ever.
Okay.
And yet nobody seems to know it because it was dominated by the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack,
right.
and Donna Summer, doing all her Last Dance stuff and cooing to everybody in the world. That's another shock too that she died so young.
Donna Summer.
Yeah, mind blowing. I'm sorry for dominating your Clash moment there.
No, not at all. No, I had my little joy moment. It's all good.
Well, I mentioned this next song at the first time we got together when we met for the Rockstar Superhero podcast, talking about songs that influenced our lives, and I love this song, and it's "My Sharona" by the Knack.
Yeah.
I know. I get it.
Well, as entrenched as I was in radio and pop music and top 40 radio, that was the Knack.
Yeah.
My Sharona was just so disposable.
It was, but I think it's just such a great. I mean, it's somehow timeless.
It's well done. It's a great song. Yeah,
it doesn't sound like 1979. I don't think it sounds just as viable today as ever. You know? I mean, it's right.
It hasn't gotten any better.
Well, it's
You're
right up there with Dream Police to me.
Well, Dream Police, I wouldn't. That's that was when
is that more candy for you? Like Cheap Trick.
That's when
Cheap
Trick had to make some money. Yeah, that's when Cheap Trick needed to. I love Cheap Trick. I love Cheap Trick.
Yeah.
I got to meet them guys several times over the course of my life.
Man.
Yeah. In fact, we almost opened for Cheap Trick. I told you that story, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the promoter wasn't going to pay him, so Cheap Trick did not go on. And they literally got in their bus and drove away with all the stage lights on and the guitars tuned up and the amps warmed up and crowd out front on the edge of their seats. And Cheap Trick took their bus right through the fence and they were gone.
Wow.
Sorry, folks. Cheap Trick went home. Moose South Lunch, I told you. Yeah.
We're going back to Chicago.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Rockford, Illinois.
Yeah,
Rockford,
right.
Illinois.
That's a great band. I saw them at the Showbox maybe in 2000, 98, 99, 2000.
Yeah, I think I told you earlier that I saw them open up for AC/DC on the Highway to Hell album.
That's
Cheap
crazy.
Trick and AC/DC.
You saw so many like iconic shows. How does that happen?
That's all we did. That's what we did for fun. When my brother was a year older than me, so I always had, a little, somebody looking out for me. So and I was always right under his arm.
Yeah.
So that's how we got to see everybody. And in the East Coast, everybody came through. There were so many different venues, whether it was the Civic Center here, Largo Center there, Capitol Center, whatever. Not bars, but clubs. Everybody came through town, and there was always 1,000 places to see shows, and they were all within a car ride away. You didn't have to go 400 miles to see a show. The shows came to you on the East Coast. That's one of the benefits of being so compacted in to
small
the East
states,
Coast,
etc.
Well, I mean, Philadelphia is 45 minutes up the street. DC is 45 minutes down the street.
Wow.
New York's an hour and a half away.
Yeah.
We
Boston's
saw everybody.
only 3.5 hours
right.
away.
We saw everybody. I mean, when it came time to fall in love with bands, like when Bruce did The River in 1980. I think I saw it in 4 states. I saw Born in the USA in 6 states.
That I would have loved to see. The River, Nebraska, any of that stuff. You're killing me, dude. Just killing me.
Well,
I saw Marilyn McCoo, Billy Davis Jr. I got that one under my thumb. So I did my Sharona. So not much to say, just like the song.
Okay.
So what else you got?
It's been, I went through my 6 so many times over already, so I'm just kind of clutching at memory now. So
Okay.
I hope you'll indulge me that. I poo-pooed Billy Don't Be a Hero and The Night Chicago Died and that kind of shit. Yeah. But those records were important.
They are.
When you were a kid, James Taylor, Handyman.
Yeah.
On the radio.
Yeah.
Those songs were important. And there's a song. I mean, it was a radio song, but for me, I'm going to actually go and I'm going to cheat and do a whole album. And I'll tell you why. No, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. When I tell you why, you'll understand.
Okay.
Anything off Journey's Escape album.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a great record.
It's a great record. And I will only say this because you talk about, songs that meant something to you or that changed your life.
Right.
You put the cassette of Escape on and
there's no losing. It's great.
You're in the car with her and by the third time,
yeah,
you're heavy petting in the parking lot or in the driveway outside some girl's house. And by the third time, Escape starts over on the cassette deck. She's really got to go.
Oh man.
But Journey's on, and she's, Journey was the mood setter, man. Journey was he was your opening act.
I'm gonna tell this story. I totally shouldn't do it, but I'm still gonna do it anyway.
Yeah.
And so my mom will know who I'm referencing, but
Okay.
I'm not gonna name names. But I gotta be really careful with this one. But
Why?
Because
she's still alive?
Yeah.
Sorry.
And a friend of mine.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, we're friends. I mean, I wouldn't call us close, but we haven't seen each other in a number of years. But she's really cool. And so when I was in grade school, she made it pretty clear she had a crush on me. Mm-hmm. It was just one of those kid things, little kid things.
Okay.
And it never really had a thing going for her. It just wasn't my thing, whatever you want to call it.
Okay, that's fair.
And then right before I moved out of town, she started dating one of my very good friends. And I remember feeling a little tinge of jealousy, just a little tinge. Well, so one summer I went back to my old town and spent about 4 days with that family, just hanging out, having a great time. And that first night we were there, I just sat with her in a bedroom listening to the Journey Escape record, and just I had never heard it. I mean, it was right when it came out.
Okay.
I'd never heard it.
Okay.
I mean, I knew who Journey was, but I'd never heard any of these songs. And then I have no idea, but Open Arms had to be the most magical song because it somehow convinced both of us we should kiss. And we, so you do that thing that 15-year-olds do, and we're never going all the way. I won't say that, I would never say that. Never went really farther than, just kind of hugging and kissing and touching each other a bit. But it was my first really amazing physical experience with somebody that I actually really loved, that I just, for whatever reason, hadn't ever acted on before. And Journey made that happen.
Yeah.
And
Open Arms is a great song,
and to
man.
this
Powerful song.
day, if I hear any song off that record, it's 1982.
Sure, you bet.
And
You bet, man.
And I'm there. It's the summertime. And those 4 days were just mind-blowing. They were miraculous.
Open Arms fades out, and then those piano from Don't Stop Believing starts again, and you know that the tape's going again, and she's got to go. She's breaking away.
Yeah. What's interesting about this record to me, though, is you told me you were a big Gregg Rolie fan, and Gregg's not on that record.
No, he's not.
So
that's the old school Journey I saw thrown off the stage in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
That's Gregg Rolie's band.
Pre-departures.
Right, that's Gregg Rolie's band.
Yeah.
Wheel in the Sky.
Yeah. So why do you think that record works for you so well? Escape. I'm sorry. Yeah. Why? Is it just because it's just one amazing hit after another? Because it is.
It's an amazing
record.
piece of work, and No, for me, it's what it was. It was being in the car with Jeannie.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and that album. That's
So
why I had to go to the whole album.
Exactly the
Yeah,
same
right,
reason
right.
I
I mean,
had.
that's what Journey did for us. I mean, Journey was just date bait.
It's
man.
a
You
loving
know,
record.
You bet. Loving, touching, squeezing record.
Wow.
Yeah, but that's not on that record.
No, it's
To be clear, for you purists at home, we're playing along.
Yeah. Well, that's good stuff. So I'm gonna end with. I can't believe I'm gonna pick. This is a crappy one to end with.
Okay, well, no, I'll cap it for you then. You do your last
Okay,
one. 'Cause
well-
we don't end on a crapper. But if it's important to you, it's on your list. I'm not going to say it's crap.
Well, before I do that, I'm gonna actually do a record too, an album.
Okay.
Because I didn't realize how impactful it was for me until I got older. But of all things, The Wall, Pink Floyd's The Wall.
Oh my God!
I know, and you're gonna be like, dude, it's so dark and depressing.
No, it's brilliant.
But
You
it's
kidding me? It's
so brilliant.
brilliant.
To me, it's the perfect.
There's so
it's
many
the perfect
colors
headphone
on that record. So many textures on that record. Oh my God! There's nothing they don't do on that record.
I tell people
they tell a story.
If you want to have an experience, put on headphones, turn off the lights, sit in the dark, and listen to that entire CD, and it will blow your mind. It doesn't matter how many times you've heard it. Trust me, you've never heard it like that.
Okay, for me, that album would be Quadrophenia by The Who.
I understand that.
You know, that's a story. That's a story told.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Beautifully through music and just amaze balls. So give me your song that you're embarrassed to hate. Give it up.
The Cars by Gary Newman.
Here in my car,
I feel the safest of all.
Okay, wow.
But I just
Oh yeah, come on! It's awesome.
Song,
it's an
man,
awesome
and
record.
It does not get old.
You bet.
And then about 4 or 5 years ago, 9 Inch Nails went to London. And when they were in town, Gary Newman came out and they did Cars. And if you watch it go on to YouTube, everyone, and watch 9 Inch Nails do Cars with Gary Newman. It's the best version of that song you'll ever hear.
Wow.
It rocks the whole time and it's perfect.
Wow.
It's perfect.
Nice.
So no reason, just again, one of those songs that I think reminds me of the Tonasket era. You know,
Tonasket,
Tonasket,
in
chicken
your
in a
life.
basket,
You bet. Right on,
13,
man.
14 years old. I love it.
Nice.
How about you?
No, I'm ending there.
Are you going to stop?
Yeah. That's not a shit burger. It's
Okay.
a fine song. You're going to
Okay.
take pride in the fact that song was important to you.
So it's not Heart and Soul by Tapao?
Oh my God, what an awful record. God, it's like you just took a dump in my mouth with that record. That was terrible.
Any song by Kim Wilde?
Oh my God, please. Come
You
on.
don't really love me. You just keep me hanging on.
Okay, I'll give you one before we go then.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I just took us down a hole, so you got to
No,
fix
it's okay. I turned my little one on to Rocky Horror this year for the first time, right? And then so the other day I'm zipping through something on the TV, and there's In and Out of Hell, the story of Meatloaf documentary was on, and so I said, okay, you got to watch this, and and Paradise by the
I
Dashboard
knew you were
Light.
going to go there.
I mean that song is
it's
just
awesome.
But the record itself is Bad Out of Hell is great.
Yeah,
2 out of 3 ain't bad. I mean it's great.
Yeah.
So Paradise by the Dashboard Light.
That's a perfect one.
I told my kid, I said, look, you got to check this out. And she's like, wow. Like, yeah, isn't that great?
Yeah.
I mean, and him, O'Day, right? Is that his name, right?
Bob?
Yeah, Bob. His name is Bob.
I don't remember his last name.
I think it's O'Day.
It's something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not Pat. It's something. God, I can't believe I'm blowing it.
That's all right.
But Meatloaf's real name.
Yeah, Bob something.
No, it's Dennis O'Day or something like that. Or it's.
I thought it was Bob.
I don't think. No, Bob was who he played in Fight Club.
No, I think
his
Bob-
name is Bob.
No, I think it
his
really
real name
is.
not. I'm gonna Google it, kids
Okay.
at home.
Okay.
While we're talking, I
Well,
will Google
Paradise by the Dashboard Light
Paradise
is
by the- and what I love is and if you know the story of the record, that part of that In and Out of Hell is a video worth hunting down. It's probably on Netflix.
Yeah.
But they couldn't get a record deal.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
And they pitched that thing to everybody. And everybody told them it was a shit burger. And
Yeah.
it's, literally scared people because from that video I saw and showed my kid, they would literally go into record labels, executive offices, and perform live.
Yeah.
They didn't have a tape made, but they would just start singing.
Yeah.
I think it was Carla Bonoff was her name before she got married, and Meatloaf and Jim was Eichmann or something. Jim something was the guy who wrote all that and kind of built that record.
Right.
They would go perform for Clive Owen or whom at Columbia Records.
Oh, Clive Owen.
Clive Barker, whatever his name was. Clive Davis. Clive Davis.
You know, the horror writer who made Hellraiser.
I loved him. I met him. Nice guy.
Clive Owen, the actor.
Right, no. Clive Davis of record-making fame. Well, Todd Rundgren heard the record, heard of them.
Right.
And he had to deal with like Bearville Records, the guys who did Smoking in the Boys Room for Brownsville Station, that record label.
Right.
And he had access to all their gear and all their studio space, and they went in and they built Bat Out of Hell.
Right.
And that's just an amazing piece. And Meatloaf is an amazing artist, an amazing Dennis O'Day. If I had to guess.
It's Michael O'Day.
Michael O'Day. That's what it is. Michael.
You know
O'Day.
what pisses me off?
What?
I thought it was Bob O'Day.
No.
I really did.
Michael O'Day. It is a day, right? Not O'Day. It's a day.
A day.
Yeah.
A-D-A-Y.
Right.
God dang it. Now I'm just
The
mad.
Meatloaf.
43 million copies.
Of Bat Out of Hell? Oh yeah, dude. It might be the perfect record. It might just be the perfect record.
Well, it was like a stage show that had been recorded.
It totally is.
It's cheesy and operatic and awesome. It's awesome.
And glowing like a metal on the edge of a knife. I mean, that's a great line.
Yeah.
And I'm praying for the end of time so I can end my time with you. I mean, oh my God, what a great line.
Yeah.
Long ago was far away.
What happened to
so much better
70s
than it is
lyricists?
today.
I mean, none of that stuff exists
I know.
anymore.
No, nobody writes songs. Oh, there's a meme on Facebook, and you've all seen it, and it's like, I think it was like a Beyonce song, "Who Run the World? Girls Run the World." Blah 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 blah. That's that song,
right?
And it's like it's like 3 lines in the entire song. There's 6 writers and 7 producers.
Yeah,
and then they do Bohemian Rhapsody, Freddie Mercury.
Right.
It's like, come on, people. You need 6 people to write "Who Run the World? Girls Run the World."
Yeah,
really?
Everything's
Really?
so overdone anymore, and
God.
everybody's got to contribute, and they've got to get their executive producer credit. They just got to be on that. They got to get their quarter point because Beyonce is going to still sell 12 million.
You bet your bottom.
I totally understand it. So we'll come up with something intriguing for next week. I don't know how we're going to do it yet with Thanksgiving come up. I'm still hanging on to that podcast that you and I did maybe a month and a half ago about the record industry, the radio industry. I still haven't released that.
Oh, really?
Just timing
how I got through radio?
Yeah, I think maybe we'll drop that on them just to give them something different to listen to, and then we'll get back to our Deep Six after Thanksgiving.
Whatever you want to do, brother.
But thank you guys for pressing in with us and loving us despite ourselves, because we're trying really hard.
Keep your feet on the ground. Keep reaching for the stuff.